Hey, today on Rare, we talk about 2 reasons that the 60/40 passive portfolio may be dead. We are in a very unique set of circumstances, and we may be here for a long time to come. Check this out.
This is The Rare Advisor, proud to be a part of the Advisor Advancement Network and home of a business model supercharged by recurring and repeatable events. Your host is Mike Walters, CEO of USA Financial. He is an investment advisor representative of and securities are offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Today, I want to talk to you about the 2 main reasons that the 60/40 passive portfolio may be all but dead. This is a unique set of circumstances that may be with us for quite some time in the future. If you think back, we've had decades of declining interest rates. And as you know, as interest rates decline, the underlying value of bonds goes up. So generally speaking, balancing a portfolio from a 60/40 perspective, at least if you believe in passive investing, has made some sense. It's basically held some water over the years. But now we have 2 different things happening at the same time, and they're related, don't get me wrong, but they are dictating the fact that the 60/40 portfolio is not performing like what you would think of historically as a 60/40 portfolio. And as you can see here on the screen, we've got number 1, we've got the Fed tightening that's been taking place. And this has been ratcheting up most recently on a much faster level. The increments have been much more steep than we've seen over the last 30 years. As you can see, the 2022 red line is going up much quicker than the 94 line did, than the 04 line did, than the 99 line did, or than the 2016 line did. And this is an important factor because not only are we spiking up in interest rates, but we had been down to essentially zero. So there's nowhere else for rates to go but up. Regardless of how quickly they're going up right now, there's really nowhere left to go except for having those rates go up. And as we said just a moment ago, when interest rates are going down, the underlying value of the bonds goes up, but the opposite is also true. When interest rates are going up, the underlying value of the bonds is going down. So when the Wall Street Journal says that this is one of the worst annual returns for a portfolio in a 60/40 blend going all the way back to the 1800s, you have to stop and take notice and try to determine why might that be the case. And I'll tell you, the reason has to do with the correlation between these 2 scenarios. We have a scenario right now where bonds are basically acting like stocks. You can see here, historically speaking, even in the worst performing time frames, which are these blocks of time going all the way back to 1978, what you'll always see is there is a discrepancy between the bond performance and the stock performance. We're seeing a discrepancy in 2 ways. Either bond performance is positive while stock performance is negative, or bond performance that is negative is significantly less negative than the stock performance. So look back in time. Here's the bond performance. Here's the bond performance. The bond performance. The bond performance. Again, the bond performance, the bond performance, right on down the line. It's either positive or a much smaller negative than is the stock performance that was taking place. And again, you could see these stock performance numerics here. And then the dark blue line is the combo, brings you to the 60/40. But look what's happening here in 2022. The bond performance looks just like the stock performance, which means the 60/40 now looks just like the stock performance. So this has changed things dramatically. Now, we saw this coming with interest rates hitting rock bottom. And for advisors, at least advisors who are familiar with USA Financial, you've been doing a lot of work with FIAs, fixed index annuities as a bond alternative. It is a great bond alternative, I might add. Also, you have worked with the asset cycle portfolio system, where we actually assign job descriptions to each subset of the portfolio so that we know what part of the portfolio is responsible for the next 5 years worth of income and then the next 5 years after that, and so on and so forth, so that we can now create a ratcheting effect and invest accordingly for 5, 10, 15, 20-year increments based upon when that chunk of the portfolio is going to be up next to create income for retirement. So these are just some aspects on how you can fight this. But the key is, don't hang your hat on the 60-40 portfolio. Start thinking differently about how you're designing these portfolios. I'm not telling you that if you're a believer in passive investing, if you're a believer in the 60-40, you'll have to determine for yourself if you want to hang your hat on that in the future. I'm telling you, there are different ways to do these things today. There are more advanced ways to do these things today. I would encourage you to at least explore it, especially given the interest rate environment and how that's now impacting bonds alongside stocks in this highly volatile market. I hope this sheds some light on at least some things for you to think about.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.